And for more on the situation in Gaza, we're joined from Cairo by the international relations expert, Mr. Mohammed Al-Yemeni. Welcome, Mr. Yemeni, to Q News. If Washington's plan is the reference, what adjustments are needed to do
Greetings to you and your dear viewers. As was respected to the plan of President Trump, it was in the beginning a realistic one, and that was helped by the moderators from Cairo and Al-Doha to have a ceasefire and stop such megathers committed day and night by the Israeli occupation forces. As with respect to the plan that goes coincide with the international law or its articles with respect to the international law due to the violation and aggression on Gaza, the International Criminal Court and the International Just Court issued resolutions that is related or was under the international law by name it genocide and ethnic cleansing. But such a plan came even for the people in Gaza to have some sort of relief. The other thing, what is the fate of just a plan? We need to clarify 2 points. Firstly, there is an American force within the Gaza Strip, and the second point, an international force, as we all know that this point received a reference, a consensus within the U.S. administration with the Israeli occupation with respect to all its points. These points meaning that the American existence within the Gaza Strip in one way to help Israel to eradicate the Hamas movement, and on the other hand, that Israel is trying to please Donald Trump along with the U.S. administration. This one part. The other part is that the fate of just a plan is still vague. Why? As Israel still from one time to another is violating some of violations. Right after the ceasefire deal, we've witnessed several violations in the Gaza Strip. Lately, some martyrs, either from women or children. This is one hand. From the other hand, the circle of analysis within the Gaza Strip, fortunately, I've witnessed and followed up that the UNRWA says that has a lack of storage that is related to the plant or Israeli reluctance within its storage, tons of the food stuffs along with medical stuff and all it is required for the Gaza Strip or for the Palestinian people in Gaza is needed, but is totally refrained by the Israeli occupation. This is one point, and the other point, the Israeli occupation isn't very much in favor of entering all the agreed upon quantities as agreed by the plan, 600 truckloads, but it's only 150 truckloads is entering. So it is very minimum in the Gaza Strip. Besides the infrastructure, as we are approaching the very harsh winter as we witnessed,
yes, well, Mr. Yemeni, we will be talking about the aid that is definitely necessary for the winter season, but there were reports of hundreds of civilians being killed during the ceasefire that started on October 10th. Now, what is the fastest credible way to verify these incidents and ensure accountability?
It is a very pivotal and significant question. As we've warned this many times, as we said through the deals, who is a real guarantor? Either the United States or the moderators, or all of them are participant in the guaranteeing, as it has a very great impact. The great influence upon the Israel, the U.S. administration and Trump that pushed Netanyahu to agree upon. And we've spoken about this previously. As you are talking about a specific crisis or a specific violation culminating by the martyrdom of hundreds of the people in Gaza previously, this comes with a green light by the United States. And for the occupation to come back again, such a violation and exploitation or provocations are or against the Islamic resistance, meaning Hamas, in order for Hamas to breach anything, in order for the Israeli aggression to come back in full, as we've witnessed previously started by the October 8, 2023. I think that Cairo, along with its communications with the very effective actors such as the United States and the relevant bodies within such an agreement for Israel should stop such an aggression if you wish to complete such a plan.
Yes. Well, Amnesty does point out to grave abuses, and Israel rejects the charge. So what independent fact-finding model could be established that could record the policymakers, all these really horrific accounts that policymakers will accept?
Unfortunately, Israel has a security coverage, as we already mentioned it upon the aggression's beginning, and is getting a great help by the United States. All the provided assistance to Israel, either militarily or on other levels, but we focus on the military level. Why Donald Trump resorted to such a plan and such a deal, as Israel lately was exposed to international isolation along with the ICC's and arrest warrant against Netanyahu and some leaders of the far right wing. This is a very great point to be mentioned to answer your question, but Israel had goals previously and currently. I said, after liberating the Israeli hostages, new pretext will be created for the violation and breaching to take place, which is what actually happened. And the other point, does the United States, under such a deal, had a real desire to achieve the peace as spoken by the American president in the Middle East, as the peace should be prevailed in full along with the Gaza Strip? I see it as it is just a break. I was following previously that Israel had returned into three fronts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. As we witnessed this year and the last year, gradually, which is a very important message that Israel isn't going to fulfill its vows to any conventions. The last questions I've already mentioned or raised some questions that should be answered by the United States. Firstly, the United States of America is turning its eyes with respect to what's happening, the violations and the humanitarian access in a bid that the Israeli occupation to achieve some tactical achievement or just a discussion to be approved upon. The other thing is related to Israel's Netanyahu, as always, searching and pursuing any pretext in order to create a political achievement as he approaching the elections in October 2026. As he is fully prepared for such elections, that is very different compared to previous elections for many considerations that is related to the aggression in Gaza, or rift within the Israeli community.
Definitely. Well, the UN calls for an irreversible two-state track with on the June 4th, 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. Now, what immediate steps would prove progress on the ground rather than making new statements?
New York's declaration that took place in the past September, along with many countries have adopted such a declaration for the two-state solution. It is acceptable, but the issue is lying on the mechanism to be translated on the ground, as Israel was hindering and disrupting whoever is going through these two-state solutions, and the full absurd in the West Bank for the lack of presence of the Palestinian Authority. There is no talk about the Palestinian Authority nor the two-state solution, despite the United States spoke many times on the two-state solution, but there isn't a clear mechanism that we should build upon a way of such a declaration or announcements.
From Cairo, that was the international relations expert, Mr. Mohammed Al-Yemeni. Mr. Yemeni, thank you very much for joining us here on Q News.